I am going to just go over my kidding kit, what supplies I have in it, and then I will show a couple other things I have in my kidding cart, and then I will also add a short video at the end too, if it's not too long, about some of the extra supplies I have in my vet cabinet as a kind of a backup and kind of being prepared for all situations. Just a warning, I'm in the barn feeding, and the dogs are out here. Some of our family and friends are just finishing up collecting maple syrup for the season, or sap. So you might hear some other noises in the background, but hopefully we should be good. So, all right, I'll show you what's in my kidding kit. So what I have is, I have one of these totes. There's a few different varieties you can get, but I have one tote that carries all of my basics for kidding. And so I'll just kind of run through what's in this one in particular. So some of the things I have, it kind of started out by what I use anytime we've got a new kid, and then also what I might possibly need and have in hand like fairly quickly, so I don't have to run up to the shop where I have a lot of our supplies stored. So I'll just run through this. I have iodine for dipping navels. Once the kids are born, we will trim their navels, and I have a pair of, there's the dogs, hopefully you don't hear them too much, a pair of titanium scissors that I will clean off each time before and after to sanitize, and then trim the navels, and then dip them in iodine. And what I've actually used over time is these little kind of party shot glasses from the dollar store. It just works well because I can fill them with iodine, put them to the kids' belly, kind of tip them back, and do the dip, and then I may use it if there's other kids for that day, but otherwise I just toss it and I will reload with a new cup. I do have some of these little dental floss that we get from the dentist out here too. Sometimes if a navel is not, it needs to be tied off, I'll use that. I haven't really used that much, but it's nice to have on hand. Let's see what else. We also do a small dose of probiotics. I buy the larger probiotic tube for cattle. It's pretty much the same thing as what stuff might be marketed for sheep and goats. It's more economical. And then let's see here. I've got, they're fighting over food. A marking crayon. I also have some spray paint too, but I like to have this in case if there's twins or triplets and one I want to keep a better eye on, I will mark them. Otherwise, we do ear tag the same day that they're born or before we move them out of their kidding pen, their bonding pen. I have these little kind of Tylenol syringes. If any of you have had small children, you may recognize these. These are actually pretty handy for administering any type of medication you might need with kids or other supplements. And so I like to have some of those on hand. I usually rinse them out and clean them. I also have some small syringes on hand. Again, not things I use regularly, but I like to have them right here so that way if I do need to administer some type of supplement or medication, it's easy for me to find my supplies. I also have a few thermometers. I have this is just a regular human one, but I have a veterinarian one I'll show in a minute in my cart that I like more, but I like to have some extra ones just because batteries run out, and I never know where some of those things are when I need it, so I like to have extra. I haven't used this yet. I think I got it on hand. I kind of add things over the years. So this is a Naval Dip Cup from Premier. I think I probably will try this year and see how it works. It probably works really well for sheep, but goats are a lot tinier, so we will see. But I'm all about gadgets. On the other side, I've got some of my other supplies, like just in case, but I'd like to have it kind of close to access to it. So I have goat YMPC for those who maybe had a little bit of a more rough birthing experience. It's just a supplement that gives more of a nutrient boost for goats. Let's see what else we've got. I've got this lamb kid paste, again, some other additional supplement, kind of the a mini goat version with probiotics. That one I got at our local farm supply store because I hadn't seen any of that type of product locally, so I thought I would try it. Also, I have a lamb and kid oral colostrum. So paste, we don't use this typically, but if there is a kid that maybe didn't get a chance to get nursing right away, or a really weak kid that we have to bottle feed, I will make sure, or the doe didn't come into milk, I'll make sure they get some of this supplemental replacement colostrum. I try to get some extra milk and colostrum from does during each season and freeze it, but it doesn't always happen. I've got some selenium and vitamin E for goats. Again, we don't use this regularly, but this is nice to have on hand if kids have weak legs or showing signs of that maybe they have some specific selenium and vitamin E needs. If I have to go in and assist with a birth, if a kid's breached or a doe is having some trouble delivering, I do have a few. I have this surgical scrub to clean my gloves and also the rear end of the goat. I also have, kind of on similar topic, Super Lube. Again, a lubricant that is to help with making that process a little bit easier for everyone involved. Myself, the doe, the babies, to assist. I don't assist a lot, but every once in a while I do have to help assist. If you've got goats and sheep, I have a harness. Sometimes I usually will let the goats do their thing, but if I need to help with getting a kid to nurse or assist with a birth, it's nice just to put the harness on and tie up the goat to the gate or to the fence, just so that way she doesn't wander off on me if I'm trying to help her. Usually it doesn't happen, but sometimes they're going through a lot, and I guess I can understand. I've had children myself. I have also a okay, let's see here. I always forget what this is called. Basically, this is a leg snare that if I have it's used to help pull a kid if they're really stuck. I haven't had to use these, but it is something that I have on hand if we really got, especially when you've got multiple kids in the goat inside the womb, that it can be helpful for getting them untangled and out. I also have a stomach tube with the instructions inside, and so this is for kids that are weak that might need to be bottle fed, and sometimes that's right from the start, or maybe it's the day or two in. They need some assistance, and that works with these big syringes. So basically, I'll take out the plunger, connect this on, and then follow the instructions to insert it into the baby to help get them fed, so they get they can hopefully pull through and become a healthy, vibrant goat. And so I've got a flashlight. You never know when you need that. Sometimes the headlamp is easier. I made some of these laminated charts when I first started raising goats, and actually it's kind of handy. I still reference them, some of them not as much, but I have one on kind of my steps of what I need to do with the kids when they are born and for the doe, just so I've got kind of the process in place. And I don't need to think about it in the heat of the action. That one I don't use as much anymore because I kind of know in my head what I need to do. And then I've also, one of the books that I've used before, or one of my reference books had instructions on tube feeding instructions. And so this has been helpful because we don't tube feed very often, but when I do, I want to make sure I'm doing it right. So it's nice to have a copy of that out here. So that is what I have in here. So now I'm going to go through my cart. So this cart is actually pretty handy. I started using it last year. Another farmer in our area had a cart for processing kids, and I really liked that. So I borrowed that idea from Tracy and her farm. But I have a box of gloves for myself. I have a box of extra small gloves for my son. We always wear gloves no matter what when handling the goats. I know there's some people who don't. We just choose to do that. In part, there's a lot of potential kind of things that can be crossed over between humans and goats, and I just want to be safe, and so we do that. Aside from the gloves, we also have these long veterinarian sleeve gloves. They're probably more commonly known with artificial insemination, but I like using them if I need to assist with a birth, because then if a lot of times I may be reaching in to readjust a breech kid, and I don't have to worry about going up past my a little farther than what a typical glove may cover. So that's helpful. On my end here, I've got a scale, like a digital scale in a bucket, and so we'll put the kid right in the bucket here and take their weight right away when they're processed. We used to use this little hanging tote scale. With that scale, the bucket just seems to be a lot easier, and when they're really little, they don't wiggle around as much. I also, because we live in Wisconsin, and you never know when spring is going to actually come, I have a hair dryer that is purchased dedicated for the farm. So I will dry off the kids right away. So I use that for that. I have, this is the inside of a cat heating pad bed. I have a couple of these. If I need to get a kid a cold snap or it needs a little bit boost to warm up, I will sometimes use, this will be kind of a combination of using these in a big bucket like this. I'll put these inside with some blankets and then the hair dryer, and kind of create like a little warm nest to help warm up the. I also have a giant bag of old towels that I've collected over the years. I have a lot more of them in my shop, but I like to have a stash here, and then I will just kind of keep bringing them back and cleaning them. But I use those to make sure all the kids are cleaned off at birth. That's the most hands-on piece of it that I do. I'll let the doe do most of the cleaning, but I want to make sure that they're not chilled or have any risk of hypothermia, because that's our biggest, I'd say, our challenge with our climate. And then in here, actually right here, I have a tub of ear tagging supplies. So we will typically tag either the day they're born or when they move out of their kidding pen. So typically we'll have them kid in the big pen or in a smaller group pen. And then after that, depending on how things go, we will put them in a smaller pen for a day or two, just to make sure the goats bond with their babies, and then we'll move them out. So when they move out is typically when we tag or we do any final processing. And then in here, I got a little tablet holder for my farm iPad. We have that way I can open up our farm record system and enter in the new kids' information. I got notepads and some pens. I also have a little bottle of 5-hour energy. If I have a really weak kid, I'll sometimes use a little squirt of this to maybe give them a jump start, in addition to some other things. We've got our ear tagging supplies in here as well. And I think that's everything for what we have out here, but our main thing really is what we've got in here. I've got a few extra supplies in our shop that I will show in a little bit. Welcome to the shop. This is my vet supply cabinet, and I kind of store some of my other supplies that we use throughout the year, have on hand. Some of our medication that we keep stored or vaccinations are in the fridge, but other things are in here. So I'll just go through a couple of the things I have on hand for kidding season. This tub, open it up. I have, let's see here. So I have a mix of baby bottles. Some of these I've acquired over the years for kidding season. What I like best is actually these. I'm gonna hack the name on it so you can correct me. The Pritchard, I'm sure I said it wrong. These nipples work great for working on soda bottles, for bottle feeding. They're actually my favorite ones to use if I have to bottle feed. And actually I like some of these expensive water bottles. I need to get some new Fiji bottles of water this year, because these are a little more durable and they seem like they're a little easier to mix milk replacer in for bottle feeding. So I'll usually use those. I have a bag of some the bottle feeding supplies. I have some extra of these big syringes. They work really well for feeding, as I talked about before. Let's see what I got. one of these little suction things that we use for babies. Sometimes goats will, if they've got a lot of amniotic fluid in their nose and passages and things like that, you can use this to suck out. I don't really use it that often, but it's in my supplies. That's kind of it for that one. Put this back. I also have, let's see, where's it at? I have not yet to use this. I hope I don't have to, but last year I did get a little milking machine. So over time I've gradually added some things to my supplies for kidding. And so this is one thing I've been looking at potentially getting, but haven't yet. Didn't want to invest the money in it, but now that we've been at it for a while, I decided to get one of these. It's a little hand milking machine. So that way, if I do need to bottle feed or I want to collect some colostrum or goat milk, I can have it on hand. What else do I have? And then I do have, let's see, what if I got it over here? I also have one tub. I'm not sure where it went. Maybe it's right here in front of me. I don't have it right. I'm not sure where it went, but I do have a stash. Hopefully I won't need them this year. As I say that, hopefully I don't jinx myself, but I do have a stash of small goat jackets, and they're actually ones that either I bought like extra small dog jackets from the store, or they're ones that my mom and helped me make when we used to raise dairy buck kids in the winter. Usually we'd get them in January through March, and so the jackets were just a nice little extra boost if there's a cold snap, especially if they're brand new goats, as they kind of get acclimated. I'd probably prefer not to use jackets, but to help them be just a little kind of harden up to the weather. But if it can help that goat put more energy into growing, it doesn't hurt. So those are my extra supplies that I have in hand, of course, and then I have lots of extra towels for drying off kids and such. So